don't proceedings. This is March the 16th, 2026 at 5 p.m. at 180 Main Street. What we're doing is we're having a call meeting, and this meeting is concerning the status of Tim Rhodes as Alderman position number 2. I remind everybody that everybody's seen the sign-in sheet. We're going to let everybody sign it on this sheet, has time to talk. Everybody's allowed 5 minutes. So I'm going to bring this to you so you know it, and everybody get a chance to ask the questions or come up and address the board. All right, we've got a quorum. We are here. First, we're going to have the prayer, and then we're going to have a pledge of allegiance. Chief, can you do the prayer?
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight. Father, I just praise you for the safety and security you provide our community from the storms that came through last night, God. Father, be with us as we do the city's business tonight. And I just pray that you grant wisdom and discernment upon this board, that you will do exactly what you're needing to do, Father. Father, be with our troops as they're in harm's way. Be with their families, strengthen them as only you can, Father. Watch over us, guide us, direct us, and give us what we faith. In Christ's name I pray.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, Mallory.
Chip Clark.
Here.
Roger Lofton.
Here.
Tim Rhodes.
Here.
Donna Ross.
Here.
Jimmy White.
Here.
Gabe Williams. Here. Sandra Wood.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum, call the roll, and I'll remind everyone now what we have is citizens' comments first. And like I said, I got a long list, and you'll be allowed 5 minutes to talk. And after everybody gets to talk, then it may be readdressed. We'll do it at that time. All right, first one up is Ricky Moody. And please, when you come forward, state your name and address just for the record.
Rick Moody, 168 Jerry Ann Road. I just want to come tonight and show my support for Alderman Rhodes. I want to thank him for his transparency he's had over his term. I want to thank him for the conservative votes that he's had. He's tried to keep taxes down for people like me that retired and have income. We all know that he's moved out of the city limits maybe half a mile out. But he moved so he could build his wife a handicapped home so he could take care of her. I admire him for that. He moved in a neighborhood where his wife is, his daughter is. She has health issues too. I commend him for the action he took. And me, like the 64% that voted for him the last time, I wish the board would let him serve out his term. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Ricky Gooch.
I'm here in support of him for the simple fact we vote for the board members. So obviously the ones that are appointed are the ones that we trust. And I just want y'all to remember that. He wound up running, he got elected. So I don't see why he should have to retire or get booted off the board just because he moved outside the city limits and maybe half a mile.
Ronnie Dyer.
My name is Ronnie Dyer, and I also live at 185 Woodland Hills Loop, Waltersville. And I want to say Tim is a great man, and I support him 100%. What he's done for his wife, a lot of y'all need to stop and think, would y'all do it? He has sacrificed a lot. And while he's sitting right there right now, I know he's worried to death about her and his daughter both. He is a great access to this board. He's honest, he's caring, and I'm proud to know him as a friend of mine, and I 100% support that man. Thank y'all.
Rita Perry.
name's Frida Perry. I live at 344 South Main Street in Lexington. I'm here to support Tim. Tim's a good person, good Christian. He's doing what's right for Lexington. Instead of trying people, the other officers trying to get him thrown off, they need to all work together and come together and not be trying to run over each other. You know, God put us here on this earth to treat everybody equal. And Tim is a good man. His wife is a good woman. And he's facing a lot of heartaches and troubles right now at this time. And we all need to support him like God supports us. Thank y'all so much.
Jack Johnson.
My name is Jack Johnson. I live at 230 White Street. I'm the 6th district, one of the 6th district county commissioners now. Tim is my best friend, and I bet I'm not the only person in Lexington or in this building right now that can say the same thing. There's nobody says it. Like, nobody can usually have more than one best friend. I don't. Tim does. Tim is not only a good one, his wife's just like family to me. I've known her since she's gone. But Tim does what he swore to do when he took an oath to sit there. I spent 12 years here. I was always on the 3 side of the 4-3 vote that was trying to do good. Tim has tried to vote for what's best for the taxpayer. His whole, 8 years, Tim, you been here? 8 years. And that's what he's tried to do right now. He's voted against tax increases. He's voted against, y'all raised taxes. I think it was 2 years ago, possibly 3, I don't know. 15 cents. All 15 cents of that went to employee raises. Now, I'm not against employee raises, but my gosh, folks, you got to think about, are you putting the other 8,000 citizens of the city of Lexington before the 200 employees of the city of Lexington? No, that's wrong. You can't paint it any color to make me like that. You need to keep this man and everybody on this side. Thank you. I've got a lot more I could say, but I better hush right now. Thank you.
Bobby Ricketts.
My name is Bobby Ricketts. I'm a general contractor in this town and have been for 40 years. I entered into a contract with Tim Rhodes to build his son a house and build him a house October of last year, 25. I have his son's house near completion. All I like is flooring and cabinets, and I'll have it ready. I've got 2 other houses under construction that I'm pushing on right now, but I do have the dirt work already started on Tim's house. It's got to put some fill on it. It's got to be quite a bit of work on it for the standpoint that I'm wanting this house all on one level. It's going to be on a slab, patio, carport, and everything's going to be one level. So we're probably just a few days off from actually pouring some concrete. But I just want to say that for whoever, I am a contractor. I've been in this town for 40 years. Most of you know me, but I do have a contract with Tim, and so I just want to make that available for what it's worth. Thank y'all.
Jerry Meeks.
Sherry Meek. I live at 779 South Main. And I'd just like to say I'm in favor of retaining Tim Rhodes on this board. He's a good man, a good person, an honest person, a decent person, and we need him. Thank you.
James Lavelle.
James and April LaBelle, we own Pretty Balls Grooming here in town. We're here to support Tim as well. He's been one of the best aldermen that I have seen in the time that I've been paying attention to local politics. He has really done a lot to step up and protect us, not as a taxpayer, but as a ratepayer. He's voted in our best interest every single time, and we support him, and really hope that you consider keeping him on this board.
And I want to say that I really support Tim Rhodes. He listens whenever I have concerns, and he is a good representative of what my business needs. Thank you.
Blake Mitchell.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight regarding Tim Rhodes' status on this board. At the end of the day, this matter deserves to be approached with fairness, care, and respect for both the law and the people of this city. Mr. Rhodes has served this community for years and has twice been elected by the citizens of Lexington to represent them. That history is relevant not as a political argument, but as context for the seriousness of this discussion. It is also important to recognize the circumstances that gave rise to this issue. The change in Mr. Rhodes' living situation was tied to immediate family medical needs and the necessity of obtaining a wheelchair-accessible home for his wife. At the same time, steps were taken to secure property within the city and move toward construction of a home here. Those facts are part of the full picture and should be considered carefully. Tonight I ask only that this board evaluate the matter based on law, the facts, and a fair-minded consideration of intent, service, and the public interest, and the public trust. The citizens of Lexington deserve a process that is thoughtful, principled, and free from unnecessary division. This is an important moment for the board and for the city. I ask that whatever decision is made be grounded in respect for the law, respect for the voters, and respect for the seriousness of public service. And Tim has done a phenomenal job of serving the public here. And so on another note, like I said, I'd also like to try to add a little bit of context about the law. If Tim refuses to concede the facts that he has moved from the city, and he continues to reside here because he has done so with every intention and all the facts that are on the ground, the board can't simply have him removed. There has to be a judicial title to action. It's called a quo warranto proceeding to have him removed. That is going to take necessary resources from the district attorney's office and probably from an outside counsel that's going to come in to try to represent this board. I don't believe that is in the best intentions. At the end of the day, Mr. Rhodes' seat is up for election in less than a year. Let the people decide at that point if they no longer want him to be representative of them. If not, if we go forward with this vote, and like I said, and it is to remove Mr. Rhodes, I will take action on his behalf to file a temporary restraining order to prevent that from going forward, and we're going to end up, like I said, having to have a judicial action to declare it void. So I appreciate y'all's time.
I apologize, but I'm having trouble reading it. I didn't know it. Is it Gardner next? Somebody? Who signed?
That may be me.
It's Goodman.
Good.
Come on up here. Now I see it.
I'll tell you the reason you couldn't read my writing is because I was so cold when I walked all the way to the other side of town. Get here,
I apologize. Not reading it, okay. Come on here.
Listen, my name is Billy Goodman. I live at 70 Connor Lane. And just a little bit about myself. I worked in Henderson County for 35 years and retired from Volvo. Great place and enjoyed it, and I've known Mayor Gordon Wildridge for many years. Fine man. Y'all got a good mayor. I'm telling you what, and maybe he'll be elected 3 or 4 more times and retire here, but I know you're under a lot of pressure, and that's just part of your job. I was county commissioner for 31 years in Decatur County. I was an old river rat, and why we built a new home up here, and after I retired, we moved up here, and so I'm a Henderson County now. So, but anyway, I'm here because of another friend of mine, Mr. Tim Rhodes. I tell you what, he's a great man. And I know he cares about Henderson County. I know he cares about the people in Lexington. And he's just a caring guy. And I think the world of him. And I tell you, if Mayor Wildridge or Tim Rhodes was to have a flat, I'd stop on the side of the road and change it for them. They're great guys, and I appreciate your support for Tim. I know it's a hard decision probably for some of you. Some of them said, "Hey, we're keeping this guy. He's a good guy. He's a just, straight, upright guy, and we want him for as long as we can keep him." But anyway, I appreciate it. Y'all come see me sometime. Like I say, I know a few people out here that I work with at OMC/Volvo, so, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Vicky James?
My name's Vicki James, and I own Learn a Lot Preschool. Been there 33 years. I came tonight to support Tim Rhodes because watching and being in the community, he's an asset to our town, and I really don't understand why we're trying to get rid of him. So, and I agree with Jack Johnson, everything he said.
Alan Beecham.
My name's Alan Beecham. I live at 242 Eastern Shores Drive, and I'm up here in support of Tim. He's been the same person ever since I met him decades ago. He's always been down to earth, common sense, help you any way that he can. And I think it's wrong to try to remove him, especially in the circumstances and that he is in, just with his wife and taking care of her. I believe that anyone that would vote to remove him is selfish, self-concerning, and not taking out the common interest of your fellow man. I don't know what the rules is. If it says if you move outside the city while you're elected, you would have to have certain circumstances. If it does, he definitely passes those. You think he wouldn't give his new house that he's building and his alderman job to have his wife back walking around like she normally would and not be in a wheelchair? Of course. He didn't ask for this. He didn't want this. And anybody that votes against him or to get him out of this is not only going to show how they really feel, they're going to be voting against themselves come the next election.
Candy Davis?
I'm Candy Davis, live at 151 Teakwood Drive. I would like to think that every one of you, if you were in Tim's situation and you needed a handicap accessible house, you would do the same as Tim. I apologize. I don't know when my future son-in-law is calling me. Anyway, Tim is always for the taxpayer. He has always voted in favor of the taxpayer. Anyone that votes to get rid of Tim, I feel that it is just your personal agenda against Tim and not in favor of what is best for the taxpayers. And you're also not looking out for what's best for the taxpayer if you go to vote Tim out, because you're going to be costing the city a lot of money in litigation. So I would like to ask that you think seriously about that before trying to get Tim out. Thank you.
White.
Well, I'm Carissa White, and I'm coming representing the county and the city. I recently inherited some property that sits on the county and city line, and I have been coming before this board since 2020. Now, I am not part of James Lavelle does not control me, as I have been told. Y'all met me before you met James Lavelle. I came before this board. I have been told, do not bring a problem to attention unless you have a solution. And Mr. Tim was open to speak to me and helped me solve the problem. I, for myself, had messed up. I was young, like some of these people here. Did not think the city alderman or the county commission impacted my life. But my life was almost tormented, and my family's future at stake due to some decisions made by the city board in the past. Mr. Tim, I would have to say, I have sat here on my own time, videotaped and shared with your public because nobody knew. I myself did not know what was going on without a newspaper article, and somebody said, do you realize this is what's fixing to happen to you? And I'm like, no, I did not. So I am saying I'm first in neglect, but I'm not going to again. If you remove him from this board, you have lost all your public support. Not only does this board control the city, you also impact our county by our utilities, by our electric, and by our protection of our services. You know, it's nothing personal. My best friends are cops, and a lot of people make it personal. Everybody keeps saying Tim's a friend. I'm not coming as a friend. I'm coming as he came to me when I presented a problem, and he said, do you have a solution? Yes, sir, I have a solution. And I think that's what people need to see. When I've been sitting here videotaping until 8 or 10 o'clock sometimes, I've had 2 little girls in the back. Y'all are making an impact on. And my daughter has sat here and said, is this really how government works? And if this is the show y'all want to put on, continue. But I agree with everybody else. You're hanging yourself if you remove Tim Rhodes from this. Thank you.
That concludes the people that have signed up to voice their opinion. Tim, would you please address the board? I'd like you to come to the podium if you don't mind.
Here. Mayor, members of the board, and for the citizens of Lexington back here behind me. 8 years ago, I was appointed to this board when Jeff Griggs won the mayor's seat. There was 7 of us all together that went for that, and I got it. I was appointed to the board. Since that time, the citizens of the community, citizens of Lexington, have elected me twice to serve as their representative. I've never taken that trust lightly, and every day I've tried to honor it through my service, my votes, and commitment to this city. My family's recent change in living situation was not about convenience, politics, or any other desire to step away from Lexington. It was driven by our immediate medical needs with my home. We had to act quickly to secure a handicap-accessible home for the wheelchair. The wider doors, the roll-in showers, no steps anywhere to get in and out. So let me be equally clear, my intent has never changed. I've always intended to remain a part of this city and to return to the city limits as soon as was possible. At that time, we thought she would get better. Obviously, we haven't, but it's been a long process. Last year, I would imagine she was in the hospital 3 months. Off and on. So what I'm saying is we want to return as soon as possible, closer to EMS, closer to a hospital, but you just can't run out and buy a handicap accessible home. That's why I purchased the property here. I've got a contract, as you just heard, with a builder to build it here. And so tonight, I'm just asking this board to consider not only the law and the facts, but also the will of the people. This seat doesn't belong to the board. It belongs to the citizens of Lexington. They elected me to represent them, and they placed their trust in me to do it on their behalf. I believe I have satisfied the requirements of Tennessee law, and I know I have remained faithful to the people who sent me here. If there is to be any decision about my future in office, that decision should rest first and foremost with the voters, the ones who elected me. The choice before you tonight is not simply about me. It's about whether the expressed will of the voters will be respected. I respectfully ask you to let the people of Lexington decide my future at the ballot box. Thank you.
All right, thank everyone. Thank you, Tim. This meeting was called tonight because I was asked to by the jury, Mr. what's his name? Jody Pickens, I'm sorry. I didn't have Jerry Woodall, that's what I was thinking about, but he took Jerry Woodall's place. But anyway, Jody called me over there, and there had been complaints sent to the state in reference to Tim and being on this board. So in order to fulfill my obligation to him was to have a call meeting, which we're doing now, let Tim address the board, the situation in, and of course y'all have come, the community's come and spoke for him. But what's happens from this point on, it'll be up to the board. If not the board, it'll be up to the state. I'm telling you this because what I was told in a meeting, Mr. Walker, our lawyer, went with me. We discussed this with them, and we're doing what they asked us to do, is hold this meeting, and everybody voiced their opinion. Now, if there's a vote tonight, there'll be a vote. Whatever the vote is, we'll adhere to it. If it's not what the state wants, the state will take action from that part. So I'm advising everybody and telling everybody that, so you understand where we are right now. So I want you to understand that. So at this time, if the board has a motion or entertain wants to do something, then they can make a motion what they'd like to do, and we'll go forward from there. Thank you.
Can I speak? And
Yes, ma'am, you're welcome.
And this has nothing to do with a vote or anything at all. First of all, Tim, you know you and I have gone way back, and you know that. When Briggs became mayor, you came to me and asked me if I would support you. And I told you yes. I never went back on my word. I never wavered. I did what I said I could do. There were other people that was asked, but I did what I said I would do. And you know that when we do speak, that I ask about your wife and your daughter every time, and I tell you that I pray for them every day.
And I appreciate that.
Whether you believe it or not, and you told me that you did, and I do. I'm not a hard-hearted person, never have been. And everybody that has spoke, I respect everything that you said. Everything about him is true, everything. I hear all this, and I'm hearing things on Facebook. People are calling me and saying, y'all are fixing to do this, you're fixing to do that. I never heard not one person say they were coming up here to remove Tim at all. Now, people can believe that whether they want to or not. They have that right. But with that being said, if you stay till 50, if you stay 10 more years from now, I'm good with that. The charter doesn't say that, but we can fix that where we can make it going forward, and you still stay. You know, and I'm speaking because nobody else is really saying anything, but that's just my take, you know. And I've sat here and I have seen people eyeball me and look at me like I'm some kind of villain or something. Nothing has been done. Nothing has been done. And I've said my piece. If anybody else wants to say anything, they can, but that's where I'm at. And I think you know that, Tim. I think you do. Deep down you do.
Anytime anybody says prayers for my wife or my daughter, I appreciate them. It's all heartfelt.
I know you do.
Because it'll be 40 years, March the 29th. that I've kept this woman taken care of her. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely.
And my daughter
Absolutely.
has been sick, and she is a huge part of my life. So,
We've talked through the
don't
years.
even get me crying.
I know, I'm not trying to, but Tim knows. You may not, but Tim knows, and that's all that matters to me.
Mr. Walker, could you come up and let me ask a question or two? You know, our charter clearly states that if an alderman moves from the municipality during their term in office, their position will be presumed to have been vacated, and it shall be declared vacant and filled by the remaining members of the board. And to me, that looks like that's copied straight out of TCA. I would assume that people who ever drafted this charter would understand that state law would supersede our municipal law, and it's exact TCA 63103. It seemed all pretty cut and dry until you brought me this order of this Amacher case, okay? And this is a Chancery Court order from Coffee County. It's 3 years old, dated March of 2023. And it seems like to me this case mirrors our situation tonight pretty closely. Would you say that is so?
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close. So I'm not an attorney, and I just appreciate your patience with me because I have to work myself through this. In this court case, this judge that signed off of this, he cites TCA 22122, which is that principles for the determination of residence, okay? And in that, it says, the law says, a change of residence is generally made only by the act of removal joined with the intent to remain in another place. Then it says a person doesn't become a resident of a place solely by intending to make it their home. There must be appropriate action consistent with the intention. Okay? This section even goes further to say if it's 1 or more years in duration that they're out of that, whatever they're declaring or they're intending to be their resident. In this order with Amacher, it looks like she sold in February of 21, but she didn't even get a building permit issued until November of 22, 21 months later. Okay? And so I think it's obvious to us all, Tim doesn't live inside the city limits of Lexington. That's pretty clear. Seems simple. If this board tonight declares vacancy in that seat, we're looking at potential legal risk if he contests this. Is that fair?
Yeah, somebody would have to file a bill in Chancery Court, and they'd probably ask for a temporary restraining order. You don't have a chancellor.
There you go.
Not going to appoint one, so you'd have to get probably a circuit judge by interchange. The circuit judges are handling divorce cases, the ones in Jackson are.
Right.
So, but they can only dedicate so much time to civil, so you're not going to get heard for quite some time.
Right. Okay. And so he stated that his intent's to move back to the city. He's purchased a lot inside the city. I looked that up on the internet today. That was done in October of 2025. He's executed a contract to build a house, and his contractor's here saying that work is being, that's fixing to be done. Part of that work, I guess, has been done. In your opinion, considering his stated intent, the work that's being done, all of that, does his residency situation appear to meet the intent or the intention that we just talked about in TCA 22122?
Well, I'm not sure under the circumstances. I have an opinion, but it says what it says.
Says what it says.
It's pretty plain English.
Pretty plain. So I play worst case scenarios. So if the board were to vote to remove him tonight, he's going to file a temporary restraining order. I think we've talked about that. And that would probably be done through some kind of emergency provision with the Chancery Court, because like you said, we don't have a chancellor. And if that temporary restraining order is issued, he sits right here and he's got full voting power until this is heard by the court. Is that right?
That's correct.
That's what I'm reading.
That's what I got from him, Taz. That was what concerned me most about this, was what was the status of his voting. And so I talked to a lawyer for MTAS out of Nashville, Tennessee, and they sent me some stuff. It should be part of your package. I would assume everybody's seen that, but his voting would still be good.
But either way we go, the district attorney and the courts have, this board does not have the authority to unseat a sitting alderman. We've still got to have a court, we've got to have some, it would be different if somebody had died or somebody moved off to California and said, see y'all over there in Tennessee, I'm not ever coming back. That's pretty obvious. That's not something you could contest. But in this situation, he could contest that, couldn't he?
Yes.
And so either way we go, the district attorney's office is going to have to get involved in this if we vote to vacate that seat. Is that fair?
That's true.
Okay. So the next question I've got is, as a city attorney, you representing the board members and you represent the city as a whole. Would that be correct?
That's true.
So if this board takes action and then a board member turns around and files a restraining order against the city, is that going to be a conflict of interest for you, Mr. Walker?
It's a conflict of interest now.
Okay.
It's already a conflict of interest.
And so at that point, then, our taxpayers are going to be on the hook for outside counsel to defend the board action.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that anyway because I can't do that and represent
Right.
the board. So that would have been outside counsel to begin with.
You had talked about we don't have a chancellor. He moved up. Where did he go? State
Court of Appeals.
Court of Appeals. And so I've seen on Facebook people talking about I'm voting for this one, I'm voting for that one. Actually, the governor will be the one that will decide who the next chancellor is because there's not an election coming up. Is that right?
I'm told that he is not going to appoint. He's going to wait for the election.
So that's going to be the fall, and let the new governor appoint the chancellor. Okay. And so, given the fact that we don't...
The circuit judges have concurrent jurisdiction with Chancery Court. They can sit there and change for each other. They're doing that now.
Oh, okay.
The 3 circuit judges. So, but when are you going to be able to get that civil case set for trial with those guys who are responsible for the criminal docket?
Right. That was my next question. What realistically is a good time frame?
I have no idea.
Okay. So, we sitting up here tonight in our official capacity, we've got legislative immunity or whatever that's called because we're working in our official capacity as an elected official. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so if this board votes not to vacate that seat, then liability won't fall on this board or on this city. Is that a fair statement? Okay.
Yes.
And so we're elected officials, but we're also citizens of the community. And so if somebody in a citizen's role goes out and tries to push this, what y'all call that, quo warranto, whatever, and the DA's involvement, then those individual citizens could have individual personal lawsuits brought against them. But that takes the city out of this. Is that right?
Well, any citizen could probably start that action. And they'd probably have to go through the DA's office to get that done.
That's right. But it would not be an action, a formal action on behalf of this board or this city?
No.
Okay. That's what I needed. Thank you, Ken.
Yes, ma'am.
I just got a great deal of respect for our district attorney's office and Jody Pickens and, the assistant district attorneys. Every day we turn the TV on, there's another homicide, there's another armed robbery, a bad domestic violence situation. I just cannot imagine the resources of that district attorney's office being wasted on something like this, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm just going to say this. Mr. Rhodes, he is duly elected by the voters of this city. He's faithfully served this city for 8 years. It seems to me that if we take action by this board to vacate his seat, he's going to file a temporary restraining order. And Ken just agreed that's probably going to be issued. And then that restraining order is going to stay in place until the circuit court hears it. We don't even have a circuit court judge. All the while, he's sitting here with full voting power as a duly elected alderman. He's only got 1.5 years left on his term. Amacher took 21 months just to secure a building permit and still won her case when it went to court. And so it seems to me that voting for his removal or to vote for his seat to be vacated, all we're doing is escalating that to the courts and costing our taxpayers money. It just seems like that's all we're doing. I think he's got very strong rebuttal evidence, as he stated his intent. He's talked about his building site. He's got a contract signed for it. Work's being done on the lot. And Mr. Walker just told us these cases mirror one another a lot. So to me, the bigger risk to our city and our taxpayers would come from voting to declare him vacant and then the city defending what appears to be likely a very successful challenge by Mr. Rhodes in court. And so I just think that seems a bit reckless at this point, and it puts our city at risk of lawsuits and taxpayer dollars going to attorneys to defend this. I just don't think that's what our constituents elected us to do. I don't think that's how they want their taxpayer dollars spent. And I just truly can't see how we can vote to do this and oust him or vacate him from his seat and truly have the best interest of the city of Lexington at heart. It doesn't make sense to me.
Amen.
Skipping the laws, let's just go common sense. Any of us could, God forbid, lose our home to a natural disaster at any time. With the housing market in the city of Lexington right now, I got 5 dogs. I'm probably going to be in the county, at least till I get my house fixed. In my opinion, it's not this board's decision to make. That's the bottom line. He's elected.
I agree with everything that's been said in here tonight about Mr. Rhodes. You know, they, all day long, all week long, try to make this personal, try to make it political. Our charter is black and white, like Donna said. That's all we had to go by. I don't have that piece of paper in front of me that she had, but nevertheless, does that give us an option that we didn't have prior to her having that, it was an order, did you say?
It's the court case of this Amacher lady that happened in Middle Tennessee.
Does that change, does that set some kind of judicial precedence in our case, in kind of way, one way or another?
No. It's not a Supreme Court case. It never was appealed. Didn't go to the Court of Appeals. It's not binding on this board.
Are we violating our charter?
Well, you're probably violating the charter, but you have to go back and look at the TCA section that's in Amacher here. It goes back and defines what the intention to reside in a place actually is.
I understand.
And then you have to meld all this together somehow and make sense out of it when it doesn't make sense.
Well, and that's what it's not doing now. It's what I'm trying to get to. You know, you're our attorney, and so I'm looking to you for advice.
Okay.
You know, as to, okay, this court order gives us the authority or the leeway to not follow the city charter. If that's the case, that's great. If it's not, then where does that leave us if we're not following our city charter?
That's just a judge's opinion, but it's a Davidson County circuit judge sitting by interchange. So that judge in that county wouldn't even probably hear that case. I don't know that they recused themselves, but it appears that they did. And so that's why I've not issued an opinion to the board as such, because I've got a conflict of interest here, because I represent this board, and that means everybody on the board. So
well, that's why I'm trying to look to you for advice as to, you know, do we have a way not to?
Well, you can hang your hat on that lawsuit if you want to, and it analyzes things pretty well, and it's black and white. So either way you go, you know, this board's going to be okay with it. I mean, you're going to be okay no matter which way you go. But I can't just tell you yes or no right here. You've got a charter problem, okay, that exists, and of course you can remedy that. You can fix that problem, and it's been there for
years.
Yeah, 50 years or something like that. Of course, when it says what it says, but it doesn't say much. And it doesn't say in the event of death or absence or or from the community or moving out of state. That's not what it says, but that's kind of what it was built for. You know, you could interpret it that way if you wanted to. So there's a lot of interpretation here on both sides of the fence. That's what you could do.
You know, it stated that voting to remove or to oppose the charter poses one problem about the restraining order this matter. If we vote and don't go by our city charter, is there any ramifications like?
Well, no, you just got a city charter that's got a clause in it that's probably incomplete. When it was drafted, it doesn't spell itself out as well as it needs to. What does that mean? I can't read it. Okay, I can't read that thing. So it's just too brief. I'm sure MTAS stuck it in there in 1953 or something like that, and it refers back to a TCA section, which is still a good TCA section. So you have to read between the lines, I guess is what I'm saying, and it's just a problem. It's a charter problem.
Well, then we need to have MTAS to help us fix this problem going forward so it doesn't happen again. And
Save
we're
a lot of
not back
confusion.
here like one side's against the other when nobody is. We're trying to get it right going forward. That's what we're here to do, and we've got to get it right.
Yeah, English is a great language as long as you use it. When you don't use it, there's where the problem is. So in 10 or 15 words, you can pick something up, and that's what you've got. You don't have 5 or 6 paragraphs discussing how this thing is supposed to go. So you're kind of in the dark, a little bit here.
But again, that section of our charter is straight out of TCA.
Yes,
I mean, they copied it word for word out of TCA.
It is, but that's all it says.
That's all it says. You're right.
I have spoken with 2 attorneys this familiar with it, and both told me it was not this board's decision to make.
Is it our decision to make either way? Stay or go? You're making decision stay, decision go. Is it ours either way?
Well, you don't have a letter of resignation. You could make a motion to recommend turn it over to the Attorney General's office. You could do that. I don't know if this board it says you got to have the vacancy first, and the vacancy, if you read that in one way, you can say, well, the vacancy occurs when he moved, but just anticipate death or somebody moved to Texas, or we don't know the rest of the story right there. It doesn't say. The charter doesn't say. So you've got a confusing paragraph in the charter. Really, is what you've got. It needs to be better spelled out.
But then you've got TCA that comes back that defines residency.
Yes, you do. So it's just a confusing mishmash of...
Sure is.
It's bad.
Yeah, it is.
I think anybody on this board that was elected ought to get to sit as long as they can legally do so. That's the end of the story. As long as they can legally sit, they deserve it. Doesn't matter whether we agree or don't agree on things. Tim and I have known each other a long time. We've been closer, we've been further apart. We've voted together, we voted not together. Ain't got anything to do with it. Just want to do what our charter says and not regret later that we didn't do it when something else comes up. We make a lot of decisions up here, and I don't want somebody to be able to come back and question those decisions based on what we're doing here tonight, whether we did or didn't do something. You follow where I'm going?
Yes, sir.
So, in that case, you can't give us any direction as our attorney as to what we need to do to keep that from happening.
No, sir.
Who can?
You've got MTAS. There's some stuff I've got from MTAS, an opinion from the MTAS attorney. There's some other information there. You got that court case to go by. You've got quite a bit of information.
We don't have any of that.
Oh, okay.
So we have, I guess, it would be prudent for me to be able to have all that before I sit here and make a decision one way or the other.
May I ask?
If there is a like to look at it.
May I speak? In talking to Mr. Pickens, when Ken and I went over there, I told Mr. Pickens that if we had this meeting, the chances are that we come out of this meeting with no decision. And I asked him, I said, and Mr. Walker can verify what I asked him, I said, if we go away and nothing happens and he does not resign and the board does not vote to remove him from the board, I said, what do you do? He said, I don't know. He said, I don't know if they want to waste the money. I don't know if they want to dive into this. We got dead bodies. We need to be prosecuting the people that killed them instead of deciding what the city of Lexington does about an alderman. And that was kind of what he said to us. So we went out of the office telling him that what we're at right now is probably where it would be. And I think at that, he intended to make they would make a decision after we had this meeting. I'm just telling you basically that's what he told us, wasn't it, Ken? That's it. That's what he told us.
You said something about he can make a decision either way. He may be involved either way.
Well, let me tell you, the only entity that can legally remove elected officials is the state's attorney general. The complaint was made to the state's attorney general. The state's attorney general notified Mr. Pickens. Mr. Pickens notified us, just come over and have a meeting. And that's what we did. Now, where he'll relate to the state's attorney general, what they'll do after that, he did not discuss that with us, what he would or would not do. He just wanted us.
If that's the case, why don't we vote? Now, if we can't remove him, let's
Well,
go.
we're not. I didn't say we was voting. He said, and this is the exact words he hit, I want you to have a special call meeting and Mr. Rhodes to get up and state his intent, what he intends to do. And I said, yes, sir, I will do that. And what we have done tonight, we have called a special call meeting. Mr. Rhodes has got up and addressed this board and has stated his intent. And what we've done tonight will be relayed to him tomorrow, exactly what happened tonight.
Mayor, I would like for us to have some kind of official vote of this board so that this is not just continuing to hang.
I can't rule out.
I agree with you, but I'd like the stuff in front of me that everybody else has got to see so that I can make a decision. I don't have that, and I don't want to vote either way without having that. I want to know. I want to do what's right. If there's a way to leave him here, it's great.
I don't have it in front of me either, Roger.
Well, I know.
Okay, but look, what I'm saying is, no action. That's what I intended. What I indicated to him was that I did not think the board would take any action. Now, if she wants to make a motion or you want to make a motion, that's fine. But I indicated to him that I didn't think anything would come out of this meeting other than where we are right now. And my recommendation is to let him decide, let the state's attorney general decide what goes on with this, not this board.
So, not to take any action, not your recommendation.
That's my recommendation.
And I will not be taking any, that's your recommendation.
I just want to add, I've not said anything, and we heard all the rebuttals and support, and I agree. I mean, but with that said, I don't think I'll say myself, there was no knowledge of this meeting going to happen until we got a call meeting. So myself or anybody else on the board has no intentions of trying to remove him, to my knowledge. So again, we're looking for advice. That's kind of my position. It's not up to us to be attorneys and to weigh out all the evidence. And we have a charter that everybody has heard what it says. And to me, that's them to ask attorneys. We're looking for advice. So if they can't decide, who am I or any of
That's the $1 million question, Andrea.
decide that. So I just want to make clear that myself, I don't think anybody else here had any intentions of having a meeting to remove Tim from office by our vote. I'll say it that way.
And if we take no action, Tim sits here and he serves just as long as nothing else happens.
And he votes good.
And he votes good and everything else. We're moving on down the line. Nothing changes.
That's what we're doing, right?
Yeah, well, that's what we should do, but
So what we're doing is we're taking no action and he stays on.
until something comes up, if it does, if it don't.
Like he served and be of help to all of us because he can be in need. Rather than get it hung up somewhere, if we take no action, then, as the mayor said, we move
Well,
on.
and I'll repeat again, what I told Mr. Pickens was, I said, what we're gonna come to is exactly where we are right now. And that is, then they'd have, somebody else would have to make that decision because this board would not do anything. And that's what I said, and of course, if y'all take a vote, then you take a vote, and I'll tell him what the vote is. If you don't do anything, that's the same thing I'll tell him again, that we took no action and Mr. Rhodes is still on the board.
I understand, but your recommendation is that we take.
My recommendation is to tell him the same thing I told him that day, that we did not remove him from the board, we did not take a vote, and when anything goes forward, he'll have to do whatever he wants to do.
And if we had done this back in October, like I thought we were gonna do, like I was told, like you had told me, we wouldn't be sitting here 5 months from now, right now, going through this.
Well, no action definitely leaves him sitting here. It definitely leaves him sitting here. Taking no action definitely leaves him here. And I'm believing in you. So that's my suggestion. And I'd like to hear from you. You know, that leaves you here, or did that sit bad with you, well with you?
To leave me here?
Leave you on the board.
No, I have no plans to resign. Yeah, I'm happy here. No, I'm not asking. I'm just saying I'm happy here.
And we want you here. I'm just saying, you're good. If no action, then you sit here. Are you good with that? That's what I'm asking.
I'm good. I didn't know he was going to do this either.
No,
Well, I think we're all in the dark, or some of us were anyway.
But if you're good with that, then I don't know why we're going to do that, and let it go where it goes. You're going to be here.
Rock on.
Yeah.
You need a motion to adjourn?
I can adjourn it, I just wanna be sure everybody's good what we're fixing to do. Everybody understands what we're doing is, the board is taking no action in the matter of Alderman Rhodes. And that's what I'll report to Mr. Pickens, the state's Attorney General. Meeting adjourned.
Let me go ahead and end this.